Hi, and welcome to the System of Care Advisory Council, Module 2 in Advocacy. Today, we are going to be talking about how to contact your legislators. So hang on, and we will get you connected. Some of the objectives that we will be going through today are understanding why engaging legislators is critical to influencing policy decisions. We're going to help you learn how to find your representative or your senator. We're going to explore various modes of communication, and hopefully you will practice drafting an email or talking points. And the last thing we will go over is how to build a coalition. But first, what do you know about your legislators? Take out a pen and a paper, and we have a 5-question quiz for you. All right, you have something to write with? Here we go. Question 1. Which Oregon state legislator is known for playing the banjo and has performed at various community events? Is that Jeff Golden? Is it Rob Wagner, Kathleen Taylor, or James Manning Jr.? All right, write your answer down. If you guessed Jeff Golden, you win a point. All right, let's go on to question 2. Which Oregon State representative previously worked as a professional chef before entering politics? Is that Brian Clem, Julie Fahey, David Gomberg, or Twana Sanchez, excuse me. All right, A, B, C, or D. If you chose C, David Gomberg, give yourself another point. Question 3. Which current Oregon State Senator is also a published author and has written books on environmental issues? Is it A, Michael Dembrow, B, Jeff Golden, C, Sarah Gelser-Blauen, or D, former State Senator Elizabeth Steiner? If you guessed Jeff Golden, you are correct. All right, question 4. Which Oregon State representative is known for their background in aerospace engineering? Is it A, Shelley Bosshart Davis? Is it B, Paul Evans? Is it C, Mark Owens? Or D, Nancy Nathanson? If you guessed B, Paul Evans, give yourself a point. And last, number 5, which Oregon State Senator is a pediatrician with a bill called the Momnibus? Is it A, Ricky Ruiz? Is it B, Dick Anderson? C, Casey Jama? Or D, Lisa Reynolds? If you guessed D, Lisa Reynolds, you are correct. Well, why would we be asking these silly questions? Well, it's because we want you to know that these legislators are just people. They're people with part-time jobs who are very committed to knowing what's going on in their community, and they're there working for you and for us. Legislators are elected by their constituents, and they want to hear from you. Your lived experience is a powerful tool for advocacy, and legislators often say that personal stories help them understand the real impact of policies much better than data alone. So now let's talk about how we might find our legislators. Okay, who should I contact? The first thing that you're going to do is put in your Google, find my legislator. Let's see if I can do this together with you. All right, so we open a tab and let's just put find my Oregon legislator. All right. Now notice I have several choices. I like to use this one down here called Oregon Argus Online. I don't know what that stands for. But we open up the browser, we look in here, and the next thing you're going to do is put in your address. So let's say that you are from the beautiful city of Pendleton, Pendleton, Oregon. Oh, okay, there you go. Comes up, Pendleton, Oregon. It is going to show you that you are in Senate District 29, that your senator is Senator Todd Nash, that your representative is House Representative Bobby Levy. And then down here, you'll see this congressional district. Now remember that your congressional district, those are your national representatives. Also important, but tonight, what we're talking about is just our state representatives. So let's look, for example, at Bobby Levy. I'm going to click on, see, it says here her website. All right. And you can see that Representative Bobby Levy has a little bit, let's look at what this says. What does it say? It says that she was born and raised in Eastern Oregon. She spent most of her time in district and on our ranch, and tells you how to get a hold of her. So short, simple, and to the point. Let's look at what committees that Bobby is on. So I click on committees. This can be interesting. So we noticed that she is on the Joint Committee on Tax Expenditures. She's on a Climate and Energy and Environment Committee. She's on the Committee on Revenue and the House Committee on Agriculture, Land Use, and Water. All right, let's do this one more time. We're going to look up, I'm going to go back a few. Let's say that I am from, let's go back, find your legislator. Okay, now let's say that I want to get very specific, that I am from the St. John's neighborhood of Portland. Oh, so not just Portland, Oregon, but I'm going to get really specific. Oh, look at this. It shows us a picture of my district. It says that the fine Senator Lou Frederick is my senator, and then my representative is House District 44 Representative Travis Nelson. Again, you can see that our Maxine Dexter is our congressional representative, Congresswoman Dexter. Let's look at Senator Lou Frederick. Let's go to his website. Okay, now you can see that Mr. Senator Frederick has given a lot of information. He has been a senator for quite some time. Great man. Let's look at what committees Senator Frederick is on. Well, looky here. He is on the Senate Committee on Education. He is on the Ways and Means Committee on Natural Resources. He is on the Joint Committee on Legislative Policy. He is on the Ways and Means Committee, and he's also on the Subcommittee on Education. Let's look at that subcommittee. So you can see, remember, when we say Ways and Means, that's the committee that makes all of our financial decisions in Oregon. They put together our budget. The subcommittees work on each part of Oregon state budget. So if you have a concern about what is happening with education, you're going to want to look up our Senate Education Committee, which you can see that Senator Frederick is a part of. Okay, I'm going to go back to Senator Frederick's website. And what would happen if you want to call him? Well, you can see that there's his phone number right there. I can almost guarantee you that it's hard to get a hold of a senator or his staff via phone. One of the best ways that you can contact him is to click his email. Now, when you click his email, you can write, we're going to talk about what to say in your email tonight, but you can write Senator Frederick an email about your concern, and someone, either he himself or someone from his staff, is likely to get back to you. Okay, let's go back to our slides now. Well, you have found your legislator. Now, we've talked a little bit about, do I call, do I email, do I send a letter, or visit? I always recommend you always send an email. That way you have a written record of your communication. You can always visit. You will need an appointment though if you're going to visit a legislator. So you will have to call or email them to get an appointment. It's not very likely that if you just stop by their office in Salem, particularly, that you will readily be able to talk with your legislator. So you would use an email if are great for just a quick, really clear messages. It's always great to put your message in writing. Phone calls are ideal for urgent issues or to express strong support or opposition, but again, it's hard to get through. And then in-person meetings are best for building relationships and discussing complex topics. You might also be able to reach them in district at their district office. So again, you'll want to schedule that appointment ahead of time. Okay, now let me give you some tips on how to effectively communicate. All right, so number one, you want to address them as representative or senator instead of Mr. or Ms. Give them the respect that their title is due. So you might say, Senator Frederick, my name is, and then give your name. You're going to introduce yourself and tell them where you're from. Then in one or two sentences, I want you to state the issue that you are wanting to address. In your communication, just focus on one issue. Sometimes they can get overwhelmed if there's many things. And then you're going to include one or two sentences with a personal connection to the issue. Finally, you want to give them the desired solution. What is it that you want them to do? Do you want them to vote on a bill? Do you want them to create a bill? Or perhaps you just want them to talk to some of their colleagues who might be on a particular committee. And then the last thing you want to do is offer follow-up communication. I would suggest you always follow up in writing if you've talked with them in person. Okay, now if let's say that you have already raised an issue with your senator, it's already in committee, and you want to give testimony. All right, so now I'm going to take us back to that website. So hopefully you still have your screen open. We're going to go through how to register for online testimony. All right, here we go. Let's go back here. All right, what's happening in the the Joint Committee on Ways and Means, the Subcommittee on Education. Let's look at what they have coming up. Today's March 3rd, so I'm going to look at what's happening on March 4th. Let me see if they have any down here at the bottom. So you can see, let me walk you through what we're looking at. Here's the agenda for the committee that's happening tomorrow. You would see, you click here, you could find any meeting materials. Don't see that there's any meeting materials. We'll go back to the agenda. You can read, it has SB 5514. Again, this is the Senate Bill 5514. That's the budget bill that holds all of the budget funding for the Department of Early Learning and Care. And let's go down to the bottom and say that you are very concerned about childcare in Oregon, and you want the legislature to commit more money to childcare. You're going to register, click to submit testimony. So click this bottom button down at the bottom. Now they are not offering this is not a public hearing, but you can submit testimony. So you can submit this is the written submission form. And I guess for this particular meeting, there's no agenda items available for testimony. But let's go back one step and see if we can't find on the 6th. Let's look at that committee. Ah, here we are. See this button here? It says register to testify. Okay, so again, in this particular committee, they are inviting public testimony. This means anyone can go on and testify. So you're going to click register to testify, and you can see all of this form right here, your first name, your last name, your phone number. These are all required. You have to give your city of residence. On the right here, it says location when you testify. You can be in person or remotely. So remember, no matter where you live in Oregon, you can testify. So you will click whether you're coming to Salem or whether you're going to be there remotely. One note is if you are there in person, they will prioritize people who have driven to Salem to be there in person before they get to everyone who wants to register remotely. So it's a bit of a note of how important it is to make sure that you get a chance to testify. You'll put your email address, particularly because they want to tell you, they'll send you a confirmation that they have got your registration. If you want, you can put how you wish to be dressed. You do not have to put your organization or your organization title, unless of course you're testifying on behalf of an organization. And then down here at the bottom, you can click neutral, your position on the measure. Are you neutral? Are you opposed or in support? And you're going to click one of those. And then finally, you hit this button, submit registration to testify. Okay, there, we've gone through that. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. And down at the bottom, you notice it says submit public testimony. Now, if you don't want to verbally testify and you just want to write something and submit that, you're going to scroll to the very bottom of this page and click submit testimony. So again, here's excuse me. You're going to put your name and an email in here, your position on the measure, and then you're going to click either submit text as a PDF, or if you want to type your testimony right in, they will give you that option to type it directly in. So that's how you submit testimony online. Okay, let's carry on. Now, what happens if you want to testify with a group or you have an issue that really requires, you hope there's a group wanting to testify or wanting to advocate together? There's strength in numbers. Your voice, while your voice is essential, it is even more impactful when the voices of many lift up an issue. This is what we refer to as grassroots organizing. Now, Oregon is lucky to have many strong nonprofit organizations that help to lift up issues that families face. In many cases, you can find an advocacy organization that is doing the work of coalition building in various sectors. Your next move might be to join one of these established grassroots organizations. We're going to go through some of them together. And if we can't find something that connects with the issue that you are interested in. So, for example, disability justice orgs. You might connect with Fact Oregon Parent Leadership, Disability Rights Oregon, or the ARC. If you're interested in advocating for an early childhood issue, you might contact Family Forward, the Children's Institute, or Our Children Oregon. If it's a mental health issue that you are interested in, you can contact the Oregon Family Support Network or NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness in Oregon. For youth justice, you might contact Stand for Children Oregon or the Oregon Foster Youth Connection or the Sexual Assault Task Force. If it's an immigrant rights issue, here are several considerations. ERCO, the Portland Immigrant Rights Coalition, the Interfaith Movement for Immigrant Justice, Oregon Justice Resource Center, Immigrant Rights Project, Unite Oregon, or ERCO, the Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization. Of course, there are many organizations in Oregon. These are just a few for you to consider. You also might consider reaching out to the System of Care Advisory Council and their family committee. That is a great place to have your needs and to be able to find organizations that are advocating for the issues that you care about. All right. Now, if you can't find someone who is working on the issue that you are wanting to work on, maybe you need to build your own coalition. So we're going to go through a few of these 6 actions that you might want to take. So for step 1 in your coalition is you want to identify some shared goals. What is it that you want to see changed? Make sure that your goals are actionable and clear. And keep focus so that everyone understands what you're working on and working towards. Step 2 is to gather allies. So who else cares about this issue? And think beyond just families. Look at nonprofits, educators, community leaders, even faith groups. The more diverse your coalition, the more credibility and influence that you will have. Step 3 is to build relationships. Coalitions thrive on trust and collaboration. So take time to listen to others, share your stories, find common ground. Everyone brings something valuable to the table, so make sure that all voices are heard. And then go at the pace of relationships. I've seen coalitions fall apart because they went too fast or they made assumptions and did not take time for the humans involved. Step 4 is to organize and assign roles. A strong coalition divides tasks strategically. Some members may be great speakers, while others might be better at writing letters or organizing events. You want to leverage each person's strengths to keep the momentum going. And last, step 5 is to decide to develop a consistent messaging. This is where you're going to decide on your key points that you want to make. You're going to write down 2 or 3 messages that you want legislators to remember. And don't forget to include a call to action. And step 6 is to take coordinated action. So first, decide on the action together. Is it a petition? Is it a social media campaign? Or might just be a meeting with a legislator? Or perhaps you want to organize around a lobby day or an advocacy day. Whatever you do, make sure that you are taking coordinated action. And if you have any questions on what to do to reach out to your legislators, you can always contact the System of Care Advisory Council, and someone on their staff will help to make sure that you are connected. All right. Thank you for joining us for today. We hope that this has been a helpful session in helping you get connected to your Oregon legislators.